So, in this episode, we are continuing our discussion about the SAG strike because that is ongoing and important.
Very much, yes. We also talk a little bit about that we're working actors and why the strike is so important to us and what it's like to be a laborer as an actor.
Yeah, it is a job. It's not all just glam, guys. So enjoy.
Enjoy.
Okay, so we are mid-strike right
Yes.
now. SAG after strong.
Yes.
And I know that you had some personal experiences on bigger sets that you wanted to talk about, just to kind of on these productions that have been halted, the types of productions that have been halted because AMPTP can't get their heads out of their asses.
Yeah.
It must be because of all of the exhaust from their private planes that they're choking down, that they're this fucking delirious. But yeah, so I just wanted to intro you.
Well, what's interesting is I stole this idea from Luke Cook, who's an actor, who I follow on Instagram. Shout out to Luke Cook.
Luke Cook.
Who was talking about how this is the time that actors should be talking and telling their stories.
Yeah.
And what it's like to be an actual working actor.
Right.
The working actors are working class, and I thought take his
cue and kind of go for it. And I've heard these stories because
you know me.
I've known you for a long time, so for a amount of years, and they're good ones.
Yeah. The thing that actors are asking for and acting for is money.
Yeah, it's a job.
It's a job, and we've talked about this before, that working actors are 95% of the entire union. And by working actors, I mean that we're not working enough as actors to pay our bills. That's reality. You have to make $27,000 a year to qualify for health care. So yeah, out of SAG members, 87% don't even make $24,000 a year to qualify for health care, which is crazy.
Yeah, also let's talk about, I don't know off the top of my head what the poverty line in this country is, but I would guess that it's over $20,000 because I don't know how you live on that. I mean, I know people do, but not in Los Angeles or New York City, which is where most of those job opportunities are.
You actually can't live off of that.
Right.
They've done studies that at minimum wage, there is nowhere in the United States that minimum wage will afford you a one-bedroom. So that's part of it. That's the thing that you hear so many people who just don't know about the industry, who are you hear so many people who don't know about the industry, who are just why are millionaires complaining? And the reality is that
we're not
that 95% of the union is not millionaires,
right.
And that 87% of the union doesn't even make health care, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And the work that we're putting in. So I did background work and stand-in work through college to pay the bills, and it was
or at least a small portion.
A small portion of the bills. Yeah, it was my side job because you make your own schedule.
Yeah.
So I went to school Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I worked Tuesday, Thursday, or whatever it was.
Right.
So back then, when doing background work, you were making around $150 a day. So yeah, the thing that we're also fighting for is these working actors, background actors, their rates, you get a flat rate for 8 hours, and those rates have not gone up to match inflation in any capacity. They haven't even, we were doing the math that most people, if you're working a solid job, you're getting a 3 to 4% raise every year, and in those numbers it hasn't even gone up 2%.
Yeah.
So, and it's not enough to live off of. It's just not. So
sorry.
No.
I think also too in that point specifically, it's yeah, as your side job in college, like the flexibility was super important. And it's like, oh, but you get to make your own hours and like da 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 da. And all this seems like a perk, right? If you're like chained to a desk for 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
But with flexibility comes job insecurity.
Exactly.
So if that becomes your career, which is like what we all hope and aim for, then all of a sudden this thing that was like really cool and like helpful when you were in college and needed that flexibility, all of a sudden you're like, well, shit, where's my next meal coming from?
Absolutely.
So,
well, and that's something that I feel like we tried, like SAG tries to build into our pay, is that this is not a full-time job. Even if you are like a quote-unquote full-time actor, you're not working like every month out of the year, 40-hour work week most of the time. Your movies only film for 3 months, 6 months on the super long end if you're Peter Jackson. So it used to be that seasons were 22 episodes long, and now you have, you know, with streaming services, 10 episodes. So as an actor, say you book a series, a show, that's exciting, and most people are like, that's your series, that's your show, that's all you need to work on is that one thing, because we see you in that one thing, right? But that's only 10 episodes.
Yeah.
So that you're only getting paid 10 times essentially, which is less than half what we were used to getting like only 15 years ago. So everything's just been decimated. And then you add the fact that residuals are pennies on the dollar now for streaming, because we need to update that part of the contract as well.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing too, is like SAG isn't even asking for like a raise, really. It's asking for what is generally considered to be like standard, just like cost of living increases. And then also there's this huge new sort of thing coming into the industry where our job description has completely changed, and the way that we track, like, you're not selling physical copies of DVDs, you're not selling how many times TBS can air the movie. Literally, like, anyone at home can just be like, I'm gonna fall asleep watching this tonight. And so, like, how do you track how people get compensated? But yeah, if you're having like millions of streams, you should be making money off of that. It shouldn't be like, oh, here's 25 cents. Like,
yeah, I think Snoop Dogg really said it best when he was, you know, comparing it to album sales versus Spotify streams. And it's like, I'm getting you millions of views. Where's my money?
Yeah. Where's my millions of dollars?
Yeah, because there's a reason they're hiding those numbers from us, because they're giving each other $100 million bonuses. I mean, that's the other thing too with producers. Like, if they come in under budget, they get a bonus. So they're going to nickel and dime, which is why we're fighting, because they don't need more money. But, like, we need to pay our rent. Yeah.
It's gross.
Yeah, it's super gross. Like, what do they need in their fucking gold toilet? No.
I just want one gold toilet, okay? I don't need multiple. I'm not greedy.
Just one.
But anyways, I am going to make you circle back and tell us your story.
Oh, right. So I was just, trying to think of just times on set that, like, were challenging or dangerous. I worked on a feature film that was for one of the big studios. And so you expect, it's a big movie with a big studio, and I think the general public would expect that the sets to be run very safe and a very certain way. And that's just not always the case. And I was in college and young and naive a little bit, and was only getting paid probably at that point. The rate was probably somewhere around like $150 for the day.
Yeah.
And everyone had broke for lunch, and they were like, someone from camera had pulled me over and was like, can we just line up this shot really quick? And I jumped underneath a giant film camera, which weighs in the hundreds, if not thousands of pounds, and was laying underneath it as it was dangling over my head. And a few moments later, a camera person came and physically removed me from underneath the camera and started arguing. Apparently they hadn't even secured the camera yet. They had broke for lunch before that happened, but they were just probably being squeezed for time and money.
Yeah.
And so thought that they could really quickly get this setup in before going through the whole rigmarole of like locking off the camera. Wanted to make sure it was going to work. But I was $150 expendable.
Yep.
Because, there wasn't enough time and there wasn't enough money. Because there's never enough time and there's never enough money, no matter what studio is paying for it.
Right. And it also, like, it's just sort of, why would we even bat an eye at the fact that someone called you on your break to come work?
Like that's not even...
That's the point of the fucking story?
No, that doesn't even track as
anything. That's par for the course.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah, By the way, can you miss the first half of your lunch? Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah. That goes without saying.
Yeah, no big deal.
I'm grateful to be here for $150. Like, are you kidding me?
Oh, yeah.
Now, my stupid, just like run-of-the-mill, like, survival jobs, it's like, if I'm making $150 a day, you best be sure I'm not going.
Yeah.
Because, forget that.
Yeah.
I can't live on that anymore.
No.
But also, no. I am taking every single second of my break.
Yeah. Like,
and it's not my fucking problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're just expected to just, and you're probably like the least paid person on.
Well, and that's the thing, like, again, going back to like, we are labor.
Yeah.
We are working actors. Like, I worked on another big tentpole feature, and we were in full corsets, which as an actor was so much fun, and just like being able to play dress up and do all those sorts of things, there is an element of it that's really exciting and really fun. But the other thing is, these were authentic, bone-in, corseted Victorian costumes from like the Victorian era. It was all like, I mean, just beautiful. It was a huge, giant budget feature. So like there was no expenses paid. But then you're in a bone-in corset for 12 hours. Like, you're not loosening that. You're not getting out of that. They don't have time. This time I was background, not stand-in. They don't have time to get you in and out of costume.
No. So and fainting couches are not included in the purchase price
you're
of those
just,
Victorian
like,
outfits.
Kind of perched in like your little folding chair or on an apple box. And for that one too, we had full facial prosthetics. And the first day that I had it put on, it got put a little too close to the corners of my mouth, so I couldn't. It like closed my mouth, so I couldn't open it any wider than this. So I was like eating like a little bird, just like breaking off tiny little bites of food that I could like fit into the smallest open portion of my mouth, and like magically found a straw so that I could drink, because I like was like a fucking bird. And that's like, you don't get, that's like just part of it for $150. Maybe I probably got a bump for the makeup, so I was probably making $200 for the day. And 12 hours. Like, I read that Jim Carrey in The Grinch trained with the Navy SEALs because being in full facial prosthetic, and also he had crazy full lens contacts in. Yeah. It's claustrophobic.
Right, yeah.
I was lucky that mine was mostly just like the lower half of my face, so like I didn't have anything like around my eyes.
Yeah.
So that was really, and I didn't have anything like around my nose. Like my nose was mine. So that was really helpful. But like, I remember hearing stories too about the Who's in Whoville of Grinch. Like they had, you know, the prosthetic nose, so your full nose is covered, and everybody got colds.
Oh. It helped with those cute little voices.
Yeah. And they would get those like long like Q-tips so that they could feed them through the Who's nose so that they could kind of itch and try to wipe their own noses underneath, because their nose is just stuck under there for 12 straight hours, and if you sneeze,
Bye-bye cute little Who knows.
bye-bye cute little you nose underneath. That Who nose is going nowhere.
Ugh.
Yeah. Oh, so the other thing that I was thinking of that I remembered, on that same big tentpole feature, we were all wigged. I have a lot of hair, so they realized that it was easier to wig me than to try to recreate this crazy hairstyle every day. So most of the time, I had really lovely hair and makeup artists, but there was one day where they had to call in a bunch of extra people, and I think they were just kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel for artists, unfortunately. And I ended up in this woman's chair, and I have never been so manhandled in my life. Again, another $150 commodity that, like, just get them in and out.
Yeah, as quickly as possible.
And just, like, I swear to God, like, she implanted a bobby pin in my head. It was, like, busting out, like, the, like, fucking chisel and just, like, going at it.
She gets HBO now.
Yeah.
Just has to flick it.
I set off security alarms at airports. But luckily, or unluckily, she put it on crooked, so one of the lovely, sweet hairdressers spotted it and called me over, and the pins were jammed in so tightly that he literally had to go borrow a pair of pliers to pull them out, and was like so apologetic and just felt so horrible that I had been treated so poorly. And that's part of it. Like, this was a big day. They had to bring in a ton of people. It was, you know, I'm sure, as someone who has also worked behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Just like, you know, utter mayhem. And there's the thing that happens on these sets is doesn't matter how big the feature is, doesn't matter like how many movie stars are attached making, you know, millions of dollars. The producers are always looking to save money, and they will do it below the line and nickel and dime people. But what happens when you have people who are so underpaid, it also starts to mean that their value is less.
Yeah.
And so they're treated
badly.
Very poorly.
Yeah.
And there's just no need for that. And also, if we weren't, you know, squeezing every last cent out of these below the line unions, if people were paid fairly, maybe they would be treated a little more fairly.
Right.
And I think when, you know, the fish rots from the head. What is that phrase?
The fish, is it rots or stinks from the head?
Yeah.
Something bad happens at the head.
Yeah. And when you're the CEOs and the execs and the producers, the AMPTP people, are squeezing everyone for time and money, it just, like, you know, the shit travels downhill. And so on the bottom of that rung is background actors, and we are notoriously not treated very well.
No, you're treated like shit as a background actor, that's for sure.
Yeah.
You are, like, it is made very clear that you are a second-class citizen.
Yes. And I truly feel like that wouldn't happen in the way, because look, I have been on sets where I have been treated lovely as a background actor, so it's entirely possible to not be a dickhead. I've worked on sets where that made me felt like part of the crew, and you know, taken care of and treated like a human being.
Right.
I've also been on these big budget sets where that's not at all the case.
Right.
And I think like part of that disparity comes from the disparity in pay.
So that speaks to this idea that, like, I don't know, it's one of those, like, books that tells you how to, like, be a business person or make money or whatever, that, like, was a big deal when we were, like, in college or
Right.
becoming humans, you know?
How to be successful at business and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, whatever. One of those. They say to, like, if you want someone to care about what you're doing, you should ask them for a favor, not do them a favor, because now they're invested. And so kind of like that mentality speaks to what you were just saying, where it's like, if you're paying someone like shit, then you don't care if they never come back to work, because you'll just go find another one. Like, if you don't value what they're putting in, and the way you would show that is by paying them, then why would you care about them?
Yeah.
And then you become the dumb fuck who says, we're going to make you strike until you can't afford to, like, eat or feed your children, and you all lose your houses and apartments, while he's at, like, some summit for billionaires. Like, if that guy doesn't get fired, I don't know what to say, because that's just so, I mean, just gross on a human level, but, like, whatever, that happens. You know, that guy's obviously a sociopath. He had, like, 2 options: become a producer or a serial killer. So, and this is the moment where Layla never worked again. Anyway, but, like, so yeah, disgusting as, like, a person, but that's not that surprising, but just, like, so out of touch, and just speaks to exactly why this is necessary.
Absolutely. Just, I mean, and it's, we're seeing it, like, in all labor unions. Like, we were marching today in support of UPS, who's about to strike.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah, AOC was doing a rally, like, last week or over the weekend or whatever.
Okay,
yeah.
Yeah, there was, like, another rally this morning. I'm not sure if it was LA and New York or just Los Angeles, but I know there was one in LA this morning that, like, SAG, like, went to.
Yeah.
So, which would be fucking huge if they joined this strike. Because
just shut it all down.
Yeah, and I saw the nurses were marching this week with us, and the teachers. I saw some teachers marching with us. Actors Equity was marching with us. It's a movement. It's a labor movement.
Yeah. But yeah, support labor unions.
Yes.
If rich people at the top weren't so friggin' selfish and greedy, then we wouldn't need labor unions. But because they are, and it's like mine,
Yep.
where they're saying things as they get on their private jet, like, I will strike you out of house and home because you won't let me use your likeness in perpetuity and never have to pay you ever again for it. Like, I'm sorry, if you're a human being, like, and you don't even own yourself,
just,
like, you can't even record a friggin' conversation with somebody in a lot of states without their consent.
Right? There's, like, 2-party consent laws, and, well, I just heard, oh, God, I wish I could remember what show it was, because that would make this better, but there was a show that they did the AI recording, and they weren't told what it was for at the time, and now they're like, well, fuck, we know what it was for now.
Yeah.
And this is why we're striking, because we need these protections in place. Like, we don't know if we don't fix this now, our next contract isn't up until 3 years. The amount that the technology is going to change in 3 years, the nerds can't even, like, guess what it's going to be. We're such at the cusp with AI.
Yeah, the nerds can't even nerd it out. Like,
No.
we don't even know. And I use the term nerd lovingly.
Oh, yes.
My dad puts shit in space, so yes. We love you, our little nerds.
We love a nerd.
But make the AI, like, work on teleportation, not stealing my likeness in perpetuity.
Yeah, we don't.
Okay,
we need humans and humanity for the arts.
Yeah.
For all the other stuff, AI, that's fine. we thought we'd do a little dramatic reading of ChatGPT's response to which job would be easier for AI to perform, screenwriter or corporate CEO?
Between the two, it is more likely that AI would be better suited for tasks related to a corporate CEO than screenwriting. As a CEO, much of the decision-making process is based on data analysis, risk assessment, and resource allocation, which are areas where AI is particularly effective. AI can process large amounts of data quickly and accurately, identify patterns and trends, and provide insights that can help inform strategic decision-making.
While a CEO also requires interpersonal skills and emotional intelligence to lead and inspire employees, build relationships with stakeholders, and represent the company in the public domain, AI can assist in certain aspects of these tasks, such as providing feedback on employee performance or analyzing social media sentiment. On the other hand, screenwriting involves creativity, imagination, and storytelling skills, which are difficult for AI to replicate. AI may be able to analyze data on successful screenplays and provide insight into what elements are most popular, but ultimately, the creative process of writing a compelling screenplay relies on human intuition and emotion. In conclusion, while AI can assist with some aspects of both roles, it is more likely to be better suited for tasks related to a corporate CEO than screenwriting. There you have it.
And I would just like to say thank you to Michael Levine for posting that gem. That is how I came across him on Threads.
Yes.
Just to, give credit where credit is due.
Yes, and he said that Alex Winkler is the one that came up with this beautiful response from ChatGPT.
So, bravo.
Yeah, I think that speaks volumes as to...
Even AI doesn't want the job. So pay us to do it.
Exactly, or AI's coming after your fucking job. Because you know what? Actors know how to ask AI questions, and we can ask them all the CEO questions.
Seriously.
And just have them run a studio for us.
Yeah.
There it is. We've solved.
We've solved the problem.
It's done.
It's done.
AI's running the studios and paying us the money.